Increasingly, programme and project managers are recognising that traditional contracting methods don't work, and that collaborative working is the way forward to meet complex programme deliverables for the benefit of all parties. And yet, making the leap towards collaboration is not always easy, particularly in traditional industries. So, what are the questions and challenges that can stop companies taking advantage of the benefits that come with working collaboratively? JCP, with over 20 years of experience, asked some of their key clients to share their insights and solutions to some of the barriers to effective and profitable collaborative working.
More of the enlightened people have recognised that there's a need to do something different. The benefits they're looking for, the risks that they want to address, and the customers they want to please will only come about by changing the behaviour of their organisation, the people in their organisation, from the leaders down, and the suppliers who they work with.
First 3 years I observed and gathered evidence as to how and where we were wasting money. And the conclusion that we came to, having benchmarked the likes of T5 and so on, was that we needed a different model. And that different model was to create a collaborative vehicle whereby all the supply chain and the client work together as one team. So we had to get the CEO on board to set the tone and create the shadow of the leader, which then basically said, there is no plan B, this is it, you're either on the bus or you're not. We also had challenges from our legal department to say, surely not, because when you try and articulate what a transactional versus a behavioural contract looks like, the lawyers have a fit. So it took probably 12 visits to the board over a period of 12-18 months to systematically remove each and every barrier that remained. The tone for collaboration is set by the client. So the client itself has to learn to collaborate within itself. The client then has to learn to collaborate with its supply chain, and then the supply chain has to collaborate with each other.
So you work really hard at getting your relationships and your supply chain aligned and aligned back to customer outcomes. And don't compromise, develop absolute back-to-back relationships for your business.
So I think our collaborative approach really had its birth in that dialogue stage of the tender process. And what we found was that some of the bidders flowed down that confidentiality agreement to the supply chain. So when they were bidding for the job, there was a much greater focus on incorporating supply chain innovation into the bid proposal. So there was a huge opportunity for the supply chain, Tier 1, Tier 2, Tier 3, to engage in innovative proposals to improve the client's business case, which through the confidentiality would remain their intellectual property and allow them to bid that in the tender process. By the time we came to award the contract for the winning bidder, we actually all knew each other pretty well and had started to build those collaborative relationships. What most people are used to is the contract and somehow using the contract to force the collaboration.
So you really do have to start on the commercial aspects, the organisational issues, to make sure that you're using collaboration to deliver rather than to hide other issues in terms of organisational issues or organisational change. It all has to be up front. If the commercial arrangement is driving adversarial behaviours, then no matter how much you try to bring the teams together underneath, then the behaviours won't follow.
We talk about putting behaviour at the heart of our commercial models. Does that mean our commercial models become quite soft and fluffy? Actually, no, they become quite challenging and quite rigorous. So I think what we understand and have learned is the relationship between value and behaviour. So bringing new people into the Alliance is in itself something that an Alliance needs to be really good at. Starts with making sure that the partner organisation bringing that person in has inducted them into their own organisation so they feel part of that partner. We then induct them into the Alliance and make sure they understand the whole bit about working differently, working collaboratively, working as part of teams. And as they join a team, they actually go through a high-performing teams process, which again just puts the emphasis on the underlying characteristics of an integrated delivery team. So as people join the Alliance from our partners, then we want them to bring best practice and ideas from those partner organisations. The Alliance is constantly renewing and refreshing and developing its capability.
It's a marathon, not a sprint, so you need to be careful that you put the firm foundations in place. So you can't just run straight into, we've got a panacea that will sort the ills. Getting the change ambassadors on board, getting those champions working, then actually that will help to embed the change, which actually will mean that it then becomes front of mind day in, day out.
In conclusion, here are some tried and tested actions for achieving effective and profitable collaborative working. Build collaboration from the start through a strong and demonstrable leadership, through engaging the supply chain early on, supported with strong confidentiality agreements, and through aligning the legal teams with your objectives. Ensure commercial arrangements are not driving adversarial behaviours. Induct new people into the Alliance and encourage them to bring best practice ideas to refresh the Alliance.
I'm really optimistic about the fact that actually the tide has turned and there is a very clear and quite widespread business case for more collaboration. So we all need to be getting our businesses ready for a greater degree of collaboration and developing the capability that will support that.
If you can galvanise people and get them working with you and they see the visionary leadership, people want to be part of that. So I believe that Affinity Water, through my leadership and the leadership from the Chief Exec and the board, will make us a top 3 player within the next 3 to 4 years.
You can't wake up one morning and say, I want to do collaboration. You have to establish the business case for your business to make sure it's the right thing for you. So don't just jump into it. Go in with your eyes open, do your research, and then you will have the conviction to make it happen.
After we've been engaged with it for a couple of years, you end up kind of self-satisfying yourself that everything's going really well. And that's probably the right time to get someone in to have a look and just double check. And that's what we did with JCP, and that's where we've made some changes in how we're taking it forward.
It does take people with courage, but people have been through it. There are lots of examples of people who've been through it. People have done alliances, have changed behaviours, have worked collaboratively before. So you can do it. We are there if you need us. We want you to succeed.